Hello and welcome back to another edition of FlowState. This time we're joined by our friend Tiga on our little adventure to the ocean. I hope everybody's doing well. It's kind of an overcast day here. Changes the vibe a little bit. Instead of these breathtaking views with crystal clear skies and just the most amazing blue. I saw a Starlink train a couple days ago, and it was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. I had seen Starlink satellites, or what I believe to be Starlink satellites, before, only once. But what was interesting about the experience that I saw just a couple days ago was that they were all in a straight line, and there was this incredible flash of light halfway down the train. I think there was like 18 satellites, and it was just so wild to experience, not knowing that that was going to happen, of course, and then also having never seen anything like this before, and your mind just runs wild in speculation. Unless you know what it is, the jump from what the fuck is that to what the fuck is that? Extraterrestrial? Non-human biologics? What? It's an assumption that it's Starlink. Now, the following morning, we happened to see an article that allegedly confirmed that Starlink in fact was there last night or the night before. But you know, it just got me thinking about assumptions that we make, taking things for granted as a default to truth for so much of the information that we receive. So much of the information that we receive is, in essence, hearsay or third party, fourth party, or who even knows how far down the line of people it takes to get to the actual truth. It's like that game Broken Telephone. I was listening to Eckhart talk about a similar, a little pee break here for Tiga. Talk about a similar concept of defaulting to truth and awareness, being connected. Hold on, let me just fix this leash here. Hold on, Tiga. 1 second, buddy. I don't know where his harness is. This is less ideal to have a collar. Collars are not ideal for any kind of exercise. I think he's gonna freak out, honestly. He hasn't been down here yet, so it's pretty cool. Now I'm thinking about Tiga, so I gotta flow with it. He was found in a cave in the south of the island with his mother and something like 8 or 9 other puppies, brothers and sisters. And we adopted him he's had quite a wild ride. He's been to the US, he's been, well, actually, that's the only place he's been. Well, Texas, let's say, and Florida. And then back to Florida on a crazy flight. He's too big to be in the cabin with us, so he has to go under the plane. And it's also quite remarkable to find out once you have a pet that needs to go with an airline and no airlines take dogs or animals. It's wild. You would think it's no big deal, but the process of doing this in check bags, I don't know exactly where they go in the plane. Probably not in cargo. There's probably another area because they don't regulate the temperature in cargo unless it's like in the check bags area. It's my understanding is that the temperature is not regulated, and I don't know if that part of the cabin is pressurized either, which is another interesting thing. It's possible that it is. If you're familiar with this, I'd love to know more, so drop a comment, let me know, please. I'm interested in all this kind of stuff. It's just practical information to have, really. Not that you would use it per se, but just to expand your knowledge. I'm gonna let him go off the leash as soon as we cross this road here. You should be quite excited. I think Eckhart is an absolute treasure. The simplicity of his message and the profound impact that it has had. Tiga, here, Tiga. Okay, come on. All right, now I gotta put this leash somewhere. Going potty? All right. So, Eckhart. There is so much to be said about focusing on the present moment and the freedom that it gives people. Having actually done the work, right? It's all about going to the bathroom again. It's all about doing the work. It's all about putting yourself in a position to do the work that is required and come out the other side with a newfound clarity that only exists after doing the work. It can happen somewhat spontaneously at a certain moment, as it has happened with me multiple times. And I feel as though every time it happens, I get deeper into a framework that allows me to see things more clearly, to be calm and still, especially when things are not calm and still. It is so vital in those moments to really be grounded, because that's when a challenge arises that needs to be dealt with. So, lounging by the pool, enjoying your kombucha, ain't really a stressful situation. Not something that is particularly challenging. But let's just say, for sake, you know, just because it popped into my head, that a meteor should land, small one, like a, you know, little rock, probably creating a ridiculous amount of destruction, considering the thing is coming from space. And so, obviously, adrenaline is pumping through you. You're just kicked into this primal emotional state, just reactive state. And obviously this analogy is quite extreme, but it still is something that I think Tiga, people can relate to. Just replace the meteor with traffic, replace the meteor with a barista who just is having a shit day and is enveloped in a pain body that is then so palpable. Tiga! He'll find his way. That's definitely happened to me once. So then the question becomes, do you choose to respond, which is a conscious action, or are you going to react, which is unconscious behavior? Very rarely do we find ourselves in situations that require this kind of mental sharpness that isn't a challenging situation, right? And this can be applicable to so many variables in life. Are you stressed financially and know that a bill is coming your way? How you choose to process that will impact, whoa, I'm gonna put this down. Sorry. Definitely do not need to be carrying this. Take this mic, quick interlude here, sorry. Okay. Feels a lot better. All right, great. My hand was starting to feel a little tight. It'll be interesting to see how Tiga handles the descent and all the big rocks and stuff. It'll be interesting. So, oh, that's great. I think this is low tide, or at least on its way. Tiga, this way. Tiga, go around. Tede is quite amazing with the clouds like this. It's very cool. So, let's just use that example because I think it's really relatable. We'll use the example of a particular intense situation for a lot of people, which is that, I'll call it the way it is, just overspending. Choosing to do things that you can't afford and trying to hopefully figure out how to pay for it later, which is a horrible strategy for many reasons. So let's say you're in that situation and you have a tendency to overspend, and dealing with your finances gives you anxiety, right? Which definitely makes your whole life situation much more stressful, a lot less enjoyable. This way. And ultimately, completely avoidable. It's about acknowledging certain realities and living in reality as opposed to some delusional environment that is propagated on keeping up with the Joneses, let's say. Which is a big problem for a lot of people. Feeling this idea that you have to compete, especially in the United States where everything is so expensive. And in order to take advantage of what the US has to offer, there is a cost, which is far greater than what most people have access to. This is pretty cool with Tiga. Fantastic. So how do we avoid those situations? Number one. Number two, if we are in a situation, how can we empower ourselves to course correct to be able to not only resolve the issue at hand, but then to prosper from it and to enrich ourselves, having gone through a struggle and using the tools that are available to everyone for free. Nicely done, Tiga. That's pretty impressive. Don't go that way, buddy. Come on, this way. So let's break it down, right? Let's start off with the easy one. Let's go this way. Tiga, this way. let's break it down, right? The easy one is to never get sucked into this in the first place. And a lot of people that have grown up in certain environments where there's this flagrant, in your face comparison that's been around since your birth, right? It starts with your parents and how they interact with their social circles and the things that you do as a family as you get older, the vacations you go on or not, the shiny new iPhone, PlayStation, whatever it is, the clothes, the cars. I've met a handful of people in Miami when I was living there. Miami is a very special place. And they had insane cars and crazy house and great location and all this. But it's like the house was empty. They had no furniture, not for any minimalist approach, but because they couldn't afford it. And they couldn't really afford the gas, because you take out one of these supercars and it's like, you know, $500 of driving around just goofing off, and that shit adds up. So how do you avoid this trap? Well, it's something that everybody can work on, and it starts with working on yourself. Avoiding situations that trigger jealousy, envy, all of these self-destructive emotions that will only get you into trouble. Look at this. This is fantastic. Hi, Tiga. It's a very difficult thing for a lot of people, how to protect themselves at a young age when you're so susceptible to, Tiga, be careful, buddy. When you're so susceptible to other people's ideas, right? And so that, in essence, starts with how you were raised. A lot of this isn't your fault. A lot of this is the programming that you've received from birth, not just from your parents, but society as a whole. It's wild how strong and powerful this programming is. I'll give you one quick example of this, and I'll speak to a system that is unique to the United States. I'm not familiar with other countries, but I'm sure the US does it more aggressively and better than anyone else. And that is that it's basically impossible to fuck. It's basically impossible to get a credit card when you're young, on your own, right? You need a family member, you need someone to sign off on you, basically guaranteeing the credit. unless you're a student, unless you're a university student. And then they will give you all the credit you want, which is fucking insane. And so many young people just are salivating at this quote unquote free money. But it's not free. Not only is it more expensive because you probably can't afford to pay off your balance in full at the end of the month, right? It's a gateway to being sucked into a system that loves nothing more than to keep you in a perpetual state of anxiety. Anxiety because you've spent all this money that isn't yours, and now you're getting like 20% interest on it that you have to pay. And then your job that pays you minimum wage, it's barely enough to eat and live. And yet now you're living well above your means, and it's the basis for a complicated and profoundly miserable life 10 years down the road, unless you can course correct. And there are a variety of steps that need to happen in order for you not to get sucked into a trap that is so easily done. So, on that note, I think we found our location for today for my other video. I'm going to pause this now, and I'll be back in a little bit. All right, we're back. The sun came out, the clouds dissipated. Tiga is completely drenched. Been playing in the ocean. All right, Tiga, let's go. He's having a blast. Definitely gonna be taking him down here more often. He was also, Tiga, come on. He was also really good while I was filming. I mean, he was just basically just playing around. All right, buddy, let's go home. So, I don't quite remember where we left off, so it may be a little weird just cutting into this, but that is the point of flow state, is that you're just connected and flowing, thinking, expressing, being dialed in. I do have some recollection of what we were talking about, which is escaping the pre-programming that is in all of us, to not get trapped into a situation that makes it so much more difficult for you to get out of, as it relates to finances, as it relates to not overspending, as it relates to not overeating. In general, feeling confident in yourself, your current reality, and how that is very much an empowered position. Being clear on what's in your bank account, using it as a tool, not as a pity party, but a place of empowerment to be able to make good decisions. Make decisions that are going to empower you and guide you towards the next step. Only you will be able to answer what that step will be. A lot of these things for me happened the hard way by just suffering internally and not being able to be fully expressed. It's a tragedy when that happens, and it's happening to so many people all around the world because of programming, because of insecurities. There's no reason to feel insecure. It's really a byproduct of envy. So, how do we get past insecurity, and how can we use this as a tool to propel us forward? One thing is for sure, don't engage in other people's bullshit. And what I mean is, let's say you get an invitation to go do something, and it's gonna be a financial burden, and you determine that it's a financial burden because you don't see how even the potential of using it as an investment is going to yield opportunity or growth for you. Then this invitation becomes potentially problematic, because let's say it's like a vacation or a ski trip, or whatever. It could even be dinner with some friends, but you can't quite afford it. Is it worth going into debt for? Fuck no. Making the call to say, I really appreciate it, I'm sorry I'm not available, may be a difficult thing for you to do, but it's definitely the best choice. The thing that's in alignment with the best version of you, your future you. I think we took a wrong turn. Maybe not. Tiga is leading the way. It's so great when the sun is out. These are all very tricky things for most people for a couple of reasons. First is the programming, right? Where you grew up, what type of friends you had when you were young. We all know those people that came from money, had it a little bit easier. Maybe they were really, really nice people, and maybe some people had little tendencies to show off. Well, as a young person, that resonates deeply, because it's like less than. You start thinking of yourself as less than because of a lack of resources. It is a motherfucker of a situation for a young person. So, taking this, applying it to real world situations, will give you clarity and focus, like being on a cut or a restricted calorie diet for a while, things kind of just gel. The longest fast I've done, I think, was like right around 4 days. I never felt so clear and clean. This way, Tiga. It's like your body and mind are so dialed in. It's really, really a wonderful experience, and I highly recommend it. The wild thing about that was that it just happened. I didn't plan it. Some friends had asked me, well, you're gonna do it again? And I said, you know, it's interesting because I have thought about it, and I think the success of the fast had to do with the fact that it was not planned. Oh man. A little tired today. Woke up at 4 a.m., was at the gym by 6, pushed hard, 26,000 kilos, I think, total weight. Not bad. So let's talk practical tools to help us move past these blocks, potential resentments, self-consciousness, whatever. As an adult, you have much more clarity as to how the world operates. The sad part is for those people that get locked in and never grow. But that's not you, because you're tuned in to everyday action. So we're all about taking action. You're nothing without taking action. Ideas will only get you so far. Oh man. Excuse me. So we'll go back to that bill analogy. So your financial situation's a little rocky. Nothing that can't be fixed through some hard work and dedication. The hard work comes from breaking bad habits, nasty little fucking things that compound over time and make your life shit. It's just not worth going into debt over. And it's just not worth all of the ancillary problems that come from being stressed out all the time. Do you really need that new sweater or whatever, you know? Like, really think about it. A friend of mine had a nasty habit for clothes. Wild shit. Thousands and thousands of dollars in debt for stuff that gets worn once or twice. That's someone who's hurting deep down inside, dealing with so many unresolved traumas and issues and conversations. That's not you. You're here because you're seeking opportunities to elevate the human experience. So how do you do this? You need clearly defined goals for what you want out of life. Now, if you tell me, you're like, yeah, all I want is money, all I want is a Ferrari, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get there, more power to you. You may lose some friends along the way, which may be a good thing. You may gain some new friends. But if you follow that path, you will be broken. It's not to say that you can't balance being wildly successful and being locked in, being there for the people that need you, your family, your friends, your parents, your wife, your boyfriend, whatever. All right, I gotta get this leash. Oops. Okay. Come on, fuck. Too many things. There we go. All right. I should have just put this thing down. Okay. Oops. Shit. Sorry. Okay. Tia. Okay. Gotta get you a different collar for this kind of adventure stuff. Still not quite over this, whatever it is, wet cough thing. So if you check out a few of my other videos, I have some clear tools for you to leverage to get clear on what you want out of life. That is so fundamental to having a vision for what you will be doing in 10 years. And you can start by going back and looking back at the past 90 days and see where you were at 90 days and see where you are today. The actions you took then leading up to where you are now, this is the byproduct of that. You are now the future you of that 90-day person. Where do you see yourself in 90 days? What actions can you take today, right now, to get you there? Excuse me. Consider the circle of friends that you have now. What kind of habits do they instill upon you? Is it always like, let's go out and get fucked up kind of people? Or some middle ground there, and also engage in healthy activities? Bettering yourself? Do they enrich your life? If they don't, you need to make the call and move on. Life is way, way too fucking short to not live fully and be the best version of you that you can. And that's gonna take work. That's why I'm here today, because I put in the work. Every day, work. Work on being more present, more mindful, more love, more support. Setting myself up for success means doing hard things that I get great satisfaction from. Oh man, feeling it today. It's that hard work that we're talking about, because nothing is gonna feel as good as not stopping, getting completely covered in sweat and making it back home. And 20 minutes later, you get that afterglow. But I don't do it for that. I do it for right now, this moment. It's what it's all about. Every moment is what it's all about. It's not a means to an end. It's not about the finish line. It's always about the journey. And once you latch onto that, oh man, everything is fun. Everything is an opportunity. Everything becomes a gift. Getting stuck in traffic with your wife maybe gives you, oops, all right buddy, come on. Maybe gives you an opportunity that you've been waiting for, to be alone and forced isolation, conversation. It's not an opportunity to pull out your phone. It's an opportunity to grow together deeper, be more connected, or your children, or your mom, dad, uncle, brother, whatever the case may be. Sitting in silence and squandering an opportunity that you've been itching for deep down inside, to be able to share something, maybe to resolve an issue that's been bothering you from the past. It's all about taking action in the present moment. Those hard conversations need to happen in the present moment, not in the future. Now. Have you been putting off an email? Do it now. Have you been wanting to express yourself to someone? Do it now. Some moments can be scary. They can induce anxiety, but we're about realizing the underlying underlying issue that generates the anxiety. Most of the time, it is not the thing that you're doing, but another issue at hand that's creating the feelings that you're going through. And the cleanest, most direct way to resolve and feel proud and feel like you're moving in the right direction is to take action. Taking action may be scary. It may feel uncomfortable at first. But you have to seek out the discomfort in order to never feel it again. We weren't designed to suffer. Humans should not be suffering, like no animal. So why would you do things to suffer? I mean, that's what anxiety is. Understanding the underlying issue. I didn't say that right. Underlying, not underlying. Oh, almost there. Thank you so much for dropping in on another edition of FlowState. Started off cloudy. Well, it's still kind of cloudy, but at least we saw the sun. Tiga came with us. You want to say hi? All right. What are you going to do today? You're going to take action on that thing that's at the top of your mind. Whatever it is, do the dishes, clean your bathroom, organize your closet. It doesn't matter. Call your mom, dad, brother, girlfriend. Send a text, I love you. Take action. You're going to feel amazing. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.